Good evening, everyone. As per the resolution of April Council meeting, the Mayor is currently on leave of absence, and I will be chairing the meeting for tonight. The time being 6:32, I declare the Ordinary Council meeting 28 May 24 open. Persons in the gallery are advised that under the Local Government Act, a person may not tape record the proceedings of a meeting of a council or committee without the authority of the council or committee. Tape record includes a video camera and an electronic device capable of recording speech. Mobile phones must be turned off so as not to disrupt the meeting. Anyone, including councillors, found using a mobile phone will be told to leave the meeting immediately and for the duration of this meeting set. An audio recording of this meeting will be taken for minutes taking purposes as authorized by the Local Government Act 1993. This meeting is live streamed on Council's website to allow the community members to follow Council debates and discussions without the need to attend the meeting in person. Members of the public attending or speaking at a meeting agree to have their image, voice, and personal information, including name and address, recorded and publicly broadcasted. Strathfield Council does not accept liability of any defamative remarks or inappropriate comments that are made during the course of the meeting. Any part of the meeting that is held in closed session will not be streamed. Councillors and members of the gallery, please note that the microphones for streaming purposes is sensitive and will record all sounds in the room. The Mayor's diary and expenses claimed by councillors for the last month since the last council meeting has been tabled for information as per the resolution 147/19. Councillors, in accordance with the mandatory provision of the Code of Conduct, I remind councillors of the obligation of which you sworn by taking the oath or affirmation in that you will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities, and discretions vested under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of your ability and judgment. May I request everybody to stand for the moment of reflection. We pray that our deliberations today will be objective and decisions are impartial and made of the benefit of the whole community. Recognition of traditional custodians. Let us begin by acknowledging the Wongal people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet on which the meeting is held. We pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Apologies and leave of absence. We have an apology from Councillor Nella Hall. The Mayor, Councillor Pennsylvania, is on leave of absence. Disclosure of interest, does any councillor wish to make any disclosure of interest? I request that each councillor with a conflict stand clearly state the item, the nature of the conflict, and what action they will take. Councillors, I remind you to use the scripts provided to you. Councillor Datta, do you have any?
No, sorry, I do not have any conflict of interest.
Councillor Chai? Acknowledgements. I have two acknowledgements. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge the Strathfield Rotary and its president Nicholas Hamilton for organizing the 10th Youth Achievement Awards on 15th May. It was wonderful to see so many amazing young awardees from our local schools. Congratulations to all the awardees and winners. I have another acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge the Khel Pratiyogita games and competitions organized by Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh. I was invited as a guest and I was proud to see that Strathfield team Abhimanyu Shaka won the third prize in it. Councillor Datta, do you have any acknowledgements?
Madam Mayor, I haven't sent any, I have few, but I haven't sent the soft copy, so I will acknowledge your acknowledgement, just say that was a very good event. I will just make one brief acknowledgement that last week I thought it was a very good development for Australia as a country. The Foreign Minister Penny Wong launched the Center for Australia-India Relations, and it is a very pioneering event, and it not only the implications of the relation would be for the not only the bilateral relationship between Australia and India, also it will enhance the peace, maritime peace of Pacific region as well, and also India going to be the third largest economy in the world by 2027. It definitely creates a lot of opportunities for business relationship and growth between Australia and India. That's all. Thank you, Madam.
Councillor Maheshwaran. Councillor Chai. Councillor Bless. Confirmation of minutes. Ordinary Council meeting 23rd April 2024. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Chai, seconded by Councillor Datta. Can I have a show of hands of those
just
for the
one
motion?
point, Madam Mayor. I just saw on page 25, it says that the matter of urgency, Councillor Raj Datta moved an urgent notice of motion. The Council advertised Council services that Council prepare brochures to this effect and be distributed to various areas. I remember that there was a discussion on that matter, but I do not remember that I moved that motion. There must have been some sort of misunderstanding. I didn't move that motion, but there was a discussion to that effect. So I would request that the recording be reviewed and the minutes be corrected accordingly.
Thank you for bringing it to our notice, Councillor Datta. The Councillor staff will take appropriate action.
Thank you.
Councillors, now I put this to vote. Can I have a show of hands of those for the motion? Carried forward, unanimous. Mayoral minutes. There are no mayoral minutes for this meeting. Items by exception. In accordance with Section 13 of the Council Code of Meeting Practice, items can be dealt with by exception, and they can be adopted as recommended by a single motion. I move that the following items be dealt by exception. Notice of motion, establishment of a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operational police station at Strathfield Station by Nella Hall. 10.1, councillors?
Yep.
10.2, lighting of bridge and path to Fidget's Crescent. Councillor Nella Hall, by exception.
Yep.
Housing policy for seniors. by Councillor Chai, by exception. Adjusting the traffic lights from east to west Arthur Street, Councillor Datta, by exception. Details on complaints, queries and suggestions, Councillor Raj Datta, 10.5, by exception. .6 Special meeting for the organizing of Council Anzac Day celebrations, Councillor Datta, by exception. 10.7 Reporting on the delivery status of capital projects, program against representative baselines, Councillor Datta, by exception. 10.8 Tree pruning and removal, Councillor Raj Datta, by exception. 10.9 Supporting a leave of absence for Councillor Blackmore, by Councillor Sharangan Maheshwaran, by exception. 10.10 Destroy the Pokies, Councillor Maheshwaran, by exception. 10.11 Conditioning development to require occupancy, Councillor Maheshwaran, by exception. 10.12 Election of a memorial plaque of Gapyong by Sharangan Maheshwaran, by exception. 10.13 Pruning of trees located on neighboring properties, by Councillor Maheshwaran. 10.13 Reports to Council, GMU1 Draft Community Facilities Plan of Management, by exception. GMU2 Event Calendar Financial Year 2024 and 25, by exception.
No, please.
CCS1 Investment Report, April 2024, by exception. CCS2 Amendment of Minutes for Council Meeting on 6 December 2022, by exception. Out. CCS3 Audit Risk and Improvement Committee Membership, by exception. I take it as yes. CCSO Mayoral and Councillors Annual Fees, by exception. CCS5 Tender advertised and awarded April 2024, by exception. CCS6 Current status of council resolutions, by exceptions. CCS7 Strathfield Complaints Management Policy, by exception. CCS8 Councillors Workshop 14th May 2024, by exception. CCS9 Councillors Workshop 21 May 2024, by exception. CCS10 Draft Reconciliation Action Plan, by exception. CCS11 Quarterly Budget Review Statement ended 31st March 2024, by exception. CCS12 Loan Borrowing for Financial Year 2023 and 2024, by exception. I take it as a yes.
Yeah.
CCES 13, small grants application, by exception.
Yeah.
EO1, Strathfield Urban Forest, strategies to increase tree canopy, by exception.
No, please.
EO2, classification of 8 affordable housing lots at 15 to 17 Columbia Lane, Homebush, by exception.
Yes.
Reports from committee. Report from Traffic Committee meeting of 21 May 2024, by exception. I take it as a yes. 12.2, Multicultural and Diversity Advisory Committee meetings, by exception. Confidential matter. Can I have a seconder and a mover for the by exceptions? Moved by Councillor Chai, seconded by Councillor Datta. Councillors, now I put the motion to vote. Can I have a show of hands for the motion? Unanimous, carried forward. Public forum. We have one speaker registered today to address the meeting. Speakers are reminded that they have 3 minutes to address council on their item of interest, with a proposed 2 minutes extension, if applicable, by the meeting. Speakers are advised that in accordance with the code of meeting practice, they cannot ask questions of councillors or staff. A councillor, through the chair, may ask questions of the speaker as long as it is direct, sufficient, without arguments. Mr. Matthew Hogan has requested to speak on behalf of the Strathfield Strikers Football Club in open forum about proposed lighting fees for seasonal hire of sporting ground. Would Mr. Matthew Hogan please come forward and address the meeting?
Alright, my name is Matthew Hogan from 4 Robinson Street, South Strathfield, or Strathfield South. I'm also the treasurer of Strathfield Strikers. Our issue isn't so much with the 25 proposed fees as a whole, in the sense that the increase we understand is reasonable. Our issue comes from the fact that the 2024 fees that were passed in 23-24 budget exceeded 65% increase of what our annual fee hire was for the winter season. So the synthetic fee hire we're happy with, and I did send an email out to all the councillors. Synthetic fee hire we understand is above average. However, the grassfield hire went from $17.50 an hour up to $33 an hour in 2025, and our lighting fee has gone from $6 an hour to $30 an hour in 2025, with the biggest increase in 2024. That's meant that our annual fee for winter, which is just for April to August, has now gone from $95,000 to $156,000 per year. Our issue is that compared to government areas around Strathfield, so I understand that in the business papers in the agenda, there was a list of the council areas where it was proposed where averages were sought after. However, a lot of those council areas were well away from Strathfield, such as Northern Beaches, Woollahra, Mossman, Ku-ring-gai. If you look at the council areas exactly surrounding Strathfield Council, which are Burwood, Canada Bay, Canterbury Bankstown, Parramatta and Cumberland, our fees far exceed those as a whole when you work out what our hourly rate is per grass field for the lights and synthetic field. The closest one was Canada Bay, and Canada's Bay fee for last year was $127,000 for the same usage. Yet Strathfield Council has asked us to pay $156,000 for this year. We got our invoice last Saturday, and with the proposed increases, our fee then becomes $162,000 or $163,000 for April to August. I therefore ask for the councillors to consider moving back or reducing our fee for 25 year. We understand that nothing can be done for the 24 financial year budget, and that's been passed. However, we'd ask the council to consider proposing a 15% increase from the 23 year to the 24 year, and then carrying that forward to the 25 financial year, which would then put the grass hire fields at $22 an hour and the lighting fees at $10 an hour, which is still more than what Burwood Council would charge us, which is still more than what Canterbury Bankstown would charge us, which is still more than what Parramatta would charge us, still more than what Cumberland would charge us, and $5,000 less than what we pay at Canada Bay Council.
Would you like to have a 2-minute extension?
No, that was it. It was just a motion to put to the councillors to consider.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan.
Thank you.
Council will take that into consideration.
Can we get, in relation to what Mr. Hogan said, just some information? I know there's information that's gone around from staff.
Code of meeting practice doesn't allow us to have a question to the staff for the public forum. Notice of motions. We have 3 right now. We have GMU2. Councillors will go back to GMU2, events calendar, financial year 2024-2025. Councillor Datta, you have pulled out. Would you like to?
Yes, just one.
Can we have a mover and a seconder for GMU2? Moved by Councillor Blackmore, seconded by Councillor Chai.
Just a small query on that, Madam Mayor. The Christmas community event, and I have seen this sort of thing happening before, and I really don't like it. It says, each councillor, I'm reading page 98, Christmas community event. Second dot point reads, each councillor can nominate 5 community members to attend. Councillors must provide their reasoning for nominating the person. The mayor and GM will review nominations prior to invitation being issued. The nominations must be received before a provided deadline. Madam Mayor, I have seen a number of events similar to this, including the Anzac Day celebration a couple of years ago, when the mayor and other people, officials decided, and it was not in the best interest of the community or the council. So I think the mayor and councillor, that sentence that the mayor and general manager will review nominations prior to invitations being issued should be dropped. We are nominated representatives, responsible enough. We represent a community. If we nominate certain people who attend certain events, that should not be coming under review by anybody. Otherwise, we would be repeating the Anzac Day celebration that we had. And I do not want the repetition, and I have seen that happening before, where in the Christmas event, everybody was asked to invite certain people, and one person invited 10 times as many. And there was no rationale for it. And nobody even knew about it. So I would request you to drop that sentence, please. I'll consider that, because there have been a lot of bad experiences with this control being imposed by certain people for unknown reasons. Thank you.
So, Councillor Datta, so if we remove from the first paragraph, the mayor and general manager will review and nominations prior to invitations being issued.
Yeah.
If that one sentence is taken off,
That's right. I'm happy with the rest.
you're happy with the rest of it? Mover and seconder, are you happy with the
Fine with that.
seconder? Are you happy? Now can I put the motion for vote? Can I have show of hands in favor?
Ben,
Councillor Chai? Carried forward, unanimous. EO1,
Sorry,
oh no,
we just. For you, Madam Mayor, I actually think we might need to correct that, the way that resolution is drafted, because I don't think the intent is that the Mayor and General Manager will review the nominations. I think the intent was that the Mayor and General Manager will not review the nominations. If I understand Councillor Data correctly.
yes.
So we need to say not, will not
But
review.
we can drop it. I mean, is there an issue if we just drop the sentence?
from the original, if they
Yeah.
drop just this sentence, it
That's
would
part
make
of,
sense.
that's part of the report. That's not the resolution. I can't delete that from the report. The report's a published document. So you would need to note in the resolution that the Mayor and General Manager will not review the nominations for the Christmas community event prior to invitations being issued.
Will not,
So you might need to recommit that report, Madam Mayor, and then take a new vote on it.
no idea. Exactly the same and we can. Can I have a mover and a seconder to recommit the report? Moved by Councillor Data and seconded by Councillor Chai. Maybe we can put just a,
So what it was is what it was.
Councillor Data, are you happy with the amendment?
Yep.
Are you happy with the? Councillors, now I put the motion for vote. Can I have a showing of hands in favor? Carried forward, unanimous. CCS2, amendment of meetings for council meeting on 6th December 2022. Councillor Maheshwaran, would you like to speak?
Sorry, would you call for a call and move her first?
Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Datta and seconded by Councillor Maheshwaran.
Amendment, Chair?
Okay. Councillor Maheshwaran, have you sent your amendment to David? No.
No.
Are you gonna do it now? Okay.
I can hand it to him, or I can just read it out.
You have already written it?
Yes. Would you like me
It would
to?
be easy for, if you could pass it on to. Councillor Maheshwaran, would you like to read out the amendment?
Sure. The amendment is that council review all council meeting minutes to reflect their accuracy and present any amendments in council workshop. Probably the addition of the word in council workshop.
Is that acceptable?
Can I address that?
Yes. Can I ask the General Manager to address this?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think that would be fine as an addition to the motion that was originally presented on the paper. The purpose of the recommendation from the officers is actually to correct the paper for the 6th of December. So it wouldn't be appropriate for the council to not correct the 6th of December in advance for reviewing all minutes. There would be quite a lengthy time commitment involved in reviewing all of the council meetings to check for their accuracy, and the current form of that amendment doesn't set a time frame. So it would be useful for Councillor Maheshwaran to set a time frame for the period that he's looking for the council meeting to be reviewed, because all council meetings would take us back for a very, very long period. It would be an extremely costly exercise for council resources to undertake, but I certainly don't have any issue with that being in addition to the officer's recommendation. The officer's recommendation is very much about correcting the official minutes based on the video, which has actually been reviewed, and it is important for council to have the correct minutes on the record.
I'll just amend that to say from January 2022. But that's proposed instead of what's been termed there as the recommendation.
Do we have any alternative motions? Do we accept seconder and mover? Do we accept the amendments? Councillor Datta?
Can I just one point on the amendment? Would you then want obviously goes to a council workshop, would then any of those updates then have to come back to council?
I imagine that a workshop, there'll be a point of discussion as to the extent of the amendments that will come back to a council meeting.
Do you accept the wording? Yes. For it to come back here?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I just want to ask a question probably of the council. So is the council of the view that they are deciding to not correctly amend the minutes for the 6th of December 2022 when they have already been presented with an error that requires correction?
Speak to that. I don't regard that as an error in the 6th December 2022 meeting minutes. I believe the practice at the time was for written conflicts of interest to be submitted. That was just the practice. The minutes don't necessarily reflect what is orally said, they reflect the documentation in the room. And furthermore, at a council workshop, I identified, completely randomly selected 7 March 2022, 7 March 2023, where we identified similar errors. So it's not that council's going through a thorough process to correct each and every minute. In fact, this process began by what I understand to be presented, that there was some question about a conflict of interest by another councillor that was declared at the March 2024 meeting. And through that process, councillors gone back and found an error in the 6 December 2022 meeting minute. Now, be that as it may, I say that reflects the dominant practice at the time, but more than anything else, if we are going back and correcting the records on these minutes, then we should do so thoroughly and in one instance. I think that was reflected in the discussion in the workshop, and that should be reflected in how the council goes about this business.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think just for the record, I don't agree with Councillor Maswaran's assessment. The report does indicate that there will be a review of those meetings, and that will come back to council in due course. The practice at the time does not align with the current legal practice, if that may be the case. The review of the video does indicate that there were declarations received, and it was noted who they were from. The declaration that is to be corrected in these minutes was not noted by the Mayor at the time.
Do you want to close off?
The amendment doesn't call for any exclusion of the 6 December 2022 meeting minutes. It simply calls for council to go through all of the meeting minutes and reflect its accuracy, because there's no particular reason why this meeting has come up for review when the council was called upon to clarify a conflict of interest that occurred at the March 2024 meeting by another councillor. I think that we should go through the entire lot and reflect on any inaccuracies in a workshop and then move a single motion to correct any errors. I think that's a thorough process.
So you want everything from January 2022 to be reviewed?
Which is functionally a temporary period for this council.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just to correct the reason as to why those meetings were reviewed, there was a notice of motion that was passed by the council to record the conflicts of interest in regards to Loftus Street.
In regards to?
Loftus Street, and Knight Street property. That required us to go back and look at all the reports where that matter was considered, which happened to be considered at the 6th of December 2022. That's the reason why this particular item was identified.
I just asked before with Councillor Maswaran's the motion that is put forward, because it just says that it goes to a council workshop. But I think if we're going to review everything, that I would suggest they should say in there that it goes to the council workshop and then comes back to council for adoption.
I agree with Councillor Blackmore.
Any amendments?
Can I ask a question? I'm still not sure that what it means. So I'm certainly in favor of nominating a number of minutes that are reviewed. But if we want to review every meeting since January 2022, then I'm not sure how long it will be take. Is it going to go beyond the term of this council? I'm not sure. I'm just asking a question, and in that case, I'm certainly in favor of, as a seconder of this motion, I'm certainly in favor of adding that as elected representatives, I cannot say that if the officers have put forward something, I could not say that it not be considered. But in addition to that, if there is a nomination of a number of meetings that also are required to be considered, I would also support that instead of, because I'm not sure that if we start reviewing all the meetings that happened since January 22, 23, 24, what time frame it would take, and we have only a few months to go through, whether it could be completed given the nature of resources that will be taken. So I would like
Thank
to.
you, Councillor Datta. I would like to get some advice from our General Manager regarding the timelines. We can review all the meeting minutes.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I don't have an estimate of time for what it would take. I can tell you that we don't currently have resources available to do that work. So we would have to go away and look at that. But there is in excess of, I would have it a guess at 30 to 40 meetings that would need to be reviewed, and that would require watching the full video from start to finish, which could be in the order of anywhere from 1 to 4 or 5 hours per meeting. So there would be quite an extensive amount of time and effort, and I'm not in a position to say what the officers would be, when they would be able to prioritise that to commence. So we're certainly flagged in the report that those 3 meetings which were previously identified at the workshop, being the 7th of March 2022, the 7th of March 23 and the 14th of May 2024, that they will be reviewed. I would anticipate that we won't be able to get those back by the June meeting, but we would certainly be trying to get those back probably by July or August meeting. For those 3. If we were to do the whole lot, very unlikely we would get it done in this council.
Councillor Maheshwaran, would you like to reconsider your dates you are requesting for the review?
I think that council can be innovative. They can use artificial intelligence to support transcribing these meetings and simply compare the two. There's a whole bunch of solutions which will become evident once the task of actually undertaking the review is in front of them. No, I think it's a great way to be thorough about these minutes, which are evidently very important to keep accurate.
We'll put the motion through without defining timelines of report coming back to you. Is that okay?
It's fine on my side. I imagine that, as with all council motions, council officers will do it.
Councillor Datta?
Sorry, I am not really aligned with the thoughts. I'm not sure I understood what the motion is.
Councillor Maheshwaran would like the council to review all the council meetings from January 2022 to till date. Everything needs to be reviewed. So it takes unlimited time at the moment. So the council staff is unable to give us any accurate timelines when they can deliver the entire report. So we are gonna send it through, but there is no binding timelines to come back. So it could be next year as well.
I think, Madam Mayor, what I said, I'm just going to repeat that. If the council officers have put a motion, has corrected certain findings, then I cannot see how, on record, I cannot see how we can say that we do not want to consider it. They fix the record. At the same time, I'm also of the view that if a number of meetings, X number of meetings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are nominated, that are practical, as an additional point, are practical to be presented to this council, I'm also will be supporting that. But as such, as it stands now.
Is Councillor Datta, are you moving an alternative motion?
Correct. So my alternative motion, I was suggesting that should Councillor Maheshwaran think of taking the suggestion, move a shadow motion, I would be supportive of that if Councillor Maheshwaran would like that. But in this form, I could not support it for the fact that there has been a fact that has been presented and on record And as a council, I cannot see how we can not deny it, the factual matter. But I would support another point to this, if should Councillor Motion or Councillor Blackmore want, that a second point be added, that the X number of meetings they want to review, and I would also support that as well. That can be provided, that can be returned to the council through a workshop.
That, if you have heard it, Councillor Maheshwaran has chosen the meetings to be reviewed are from January 2022.
As I said, I'm not supporting of it.
So you want to decrease the number of meetings to be reviewed? Or do you have a particular line?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think the alternate motion that Councillor Data is looking for is that Council amend the minutes of the council meeting on the 6th of December to properly reflect the conflicts of interest declared at that meeting, and that Council review the council meeting minutes for certain meetings
Fix now any number of meetings that is practical to be reported.
to also reflect their accuracy and present any amendments to a councillor workshop and to a future council meeting for adoption.
I believe we're dealing with the present motion and the amendment that I put. And I'm happy to amend that to state that rather than a future council meeting, that be by the August 2024 meeting as an amendment, but the amendment must be dealt with before we deal with other business in terms of an alternate motion or foreshadowed motion. So in circumstances where the seconder, my understanding is, I may be incorrect about this, but in circumstances where the seconder may not wish to accept the amendment, then it should be put as a vote. And should that fail, then we'd return to the original motion.
Councillor Datta, are you withdrawing your support for the amendment made by Councillor Maheshwaran?
I didn't support it. I have nothing to withdraw.
On your screen, if you see the amendment,
Oh, okay.
this is the motion.
That's not the full thing. I think what I said is not entirely there.
Can I ask the General Manager to
Through you,
address?
Madam Mayor. So the question is, are you withdrawing your support for what is referenced as the motion? So where you have supported the amendment moved by Councillor Maswaran above.
So the first one,
Yeah, are you withdrawing your support for that?
I didn't support it. I seconded it.
Are you withdrawing your seconding for it?
Yes, yes.
So then you have to go back to the original recommendation.
I'm looking for it.
My understanding is that the amendment would be put,
Yeah.
Not if you withdraw it.
sorry, it's my amendment.
You don't have a seconder.
Call for a seconder.
Councillor Chai? Would you like to second Councillor Maheshwaran's motion? Councillor Blackmore?
Through the chair, I'm more like, Councillor Data's amendment. I think we should narrow, the meeting's minute, not the whole lot. Okay, I think may I suggest, Councillor Maheshwaran to narrow, the minute of the meeting. Thank you.
If there's no seconder, then
I would, Councillor Maheshwaran, I would like to second your motion. Councillors, I put the motion to vote. Can I have a show of hands for the motion? In favour?
Excuse me, which motion we're voting now?
You're voting on this one, you need to read it.
We're voting on the motion. The council review all council meeting minutes from January 2022.
So we can vote 2 times, is it?
Have you put it to a vote?
Yeah.
What happened?
Can I have a show of hands for the motion, councillors?
So, can we confirm that that's the motion we're
So
voting on?
now we'll confirm the motion has
No, we'll confirm the motion they're voting for.
yeah,
Okay. So read it out.
the recommend foreshadowing.
You have this one. This is the motion they're going to vote for. You need to read that one out.
That's what they voted just now.
Okay, so you need to declare it. If that's the case, you need to declare it lost.
I declare the motion lost.
Now the foreshadowed motion.
Now we'll vote for the foreshadow motion.
Foreshadowed motion becomes the motion.
Foreshadow motion becomes the motion. Councillor Datta,
Is there a seconder for
is there a seconder for Councillor Datta's foreshadow? Councillor Chai, seconded.
Can I just check the wording of that?
Councillor Datta, are you happy with the wording of the foreshadow motion?
Which meetings?
A number of meetings. I think that, what is the number? We want to define the number. We define number, not entire meeting.
So, through you, Madam Mayor, first question would be, are you defining the number of meetings as being those identified by the officers in the council report, which would be the 7th of March 2022, 7th of March 2023, and 14th of May 2024?
And I agree that, and if any other councillor nominates any other specific meetings, that could be included. That's what I'm saying. The number of meetings, including the ones that are maintained in the paper, should be reviewed. Specific number of meetings.
Yes. Councillor Blackmore?
I think if we're reviewing the minutes, that would be like reviewing what Councillor Masmoran had put, that we're reviewing all the minutes to actually look at it. To me, it seems like this report in motion, and look, I wasn't at the workshop, but it seems whether it's a matter of the normal practice of this council, or what's the correct rules. And I'll probably also point out, with no disrespect to any of the councillors or myself as a councillor, I think if that's the argument about whether it's practice, what's practice and what's the actual policy, I would state that the form of induction and training that this term, as well as the previous term of council had, was probably not sufficient, and some mistakes may have been made. So I think that if we're reviewing it, it's reviewing as just a minute taking purpose for accuracy, so I think that it should be all the minutes in this term.
That's the motion at the moment. Councillor Dana and Councillor Chai, they will amend their motion. Otherwise, whether Councillor Blackmore wants that to become a foreshadowed motion.
Councillor Datta and Councillor Chai, would you like to take the recommendations from Councillor Blackmore, or do you want, as an amendment, do you want Councillor Blackmore's recommendations to be foreshadowed?
I would have accepted Councillor Blackmore's motion, but I am afraid that if we take that, then only in this council term, only probably the number 1 will be implemented, and number 2 will be thrown in the oblivion, because I cannot see number 2 being practically reviewed by this council. Otherwise, I would not have any hesitation to take the original motion into account, but I cannot see that is being done in this term of the council. And that's the reason I put that, and of course it will take enormous amount of time. So that's the only reason I wanted to narrow it down. I didn't necessarily mean that only those meetings. There could be other meetings nominated, but I cannot see moving a motion that Councillor Blackmore has indicated, because it won't be. I cannot see that being done in this term of the council, unless the council officers promises that it will be done. I'm happy to take it.
I'll foreshadow that the minutes of the 6th December 2022 meeting, the 7th of March 2022 council, so if we can just list all the dates. Be reviewed for accuracy and brought back to a workshop. And to any amendments brought back to a council meeting. In addition, any other council minutes from January 22 to present be reviewed for accuracy and brought to a subsequent workshop, and be brought back to council when complete. I think that it's just, like, we can go over the ones that we're pointing out, but it's more of a record keep, like it's a record keeping purpose. If there has been mistakes made, there probably will be other mistakes there, so I believe that we should be reviewing it all.
May I ask for some clarification from the General Manager, please?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I suppose I just want to clarify the foreshadowed motion. Is it reviewing the minutes in their entirety for what was resolved, or is it reviewing the conflicts of interest that have been declared at each of those meetings for that period?
I was assuming the minutes.
The entire minutes?
Yes.
Councillors, before we put the motions for vote, can I adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes, please? We resume the meeting now. I apologize to the online viewers that we have taken more than 5 minutes to resume the meeting. Councillors, now the time being 7:55, I resume the meeting, and the motion on your screen, Councillor Datta and Councillor Chai, is that the wording you would finalize to put for vote?
Yeah. Councillor Chai, you okay with that?
Councillors, I put the motion to vote. Can I have a show of hands on the motion?
I'll speak to the motion.
Do you want to speak to the motion?
If you don't want.
Councillor Maheshwaran, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, I'd like to speak against the motion. The motion essentially says that the council will amend the 6th of December 2022 meeting minute now, today, and 28 May 2024 to reflect that a conflict of interest was not declared. Conflict of interest was plainly handed up in the course of that meeting, and that's reflected by the specific language that was used in that paper being entered into the meeting minutes. That reflects the dominant practice of the council at that time. The mere failure of that to be noted at that time does not abrogate that conflict of interest was declared in the relevant item. While council may vote to amend the minute, I'd also state that there are a number of other instances that are similar or like this in other council meetings, and as such, council today has refused to do a comprehensive review of those other meeting minutes, but has decided to amend this particular minute to reflect the current practice today. That's my view. Others may have other views, but there can be no denying that a written conflict of interest was submitted at that time.
Councillor Datta, would you like to add anything or conclude?
Yes, sure. I'm really very contradicted in this because, but from the evidence as being presented by the general manager saying that, and the director, that they have reviewed the documentations, and it shows that Mayor Blackmore at the time read out some conflicts of interest, and that was not included. So, and the council officers have presented some information saying that this was not included, and and they have given a reason before on record saying why this particular meeting was reviewed. So I cannot see, as elected officials, we can tell the council officers not to correct something if they present to us certain facts. At the same token, to be fair, I am also supportive, as I myself and Councillor Chaya put forward, that should any councillor suggest that any other minutes or conflicts of interest be recorded, I'm happy to include them, and I understand that Councillor Maheshwaran has earlier included as suggested that the minutes of 7th of March 22, 7th of March 23 and 14th of May 24 be reviewed, and I am fully supportive of that. In addition to that, if within a reasonable time, say week's time, if any other minutes be requested to be reviewed in a future meeting or in other future forum, I'll be supportive of that too. So in my view, that being public representatives, it would be legally, it would be indefensible for us as councillors to ask the council officers not to correct the record should they on their own come up with those records. That's my view. That's my contradictory, and I understand the situation. I'm very sad about it, but I can only support this motion, and that's I expect that you all can accept it. Thank you.
I'll be supporting this motion, but just based on the information that I was presented by the staff, but it does also that the declaration wasn't necessarily handed up, but it has also been brought to our attention and have it noted that there is in existence a declaration form, which no one is aware of how it appeared, but it obviously does exist because it's been minuted in the past. So.
Councillors, I now put the motion to vote. Can I have a show of hands for the motion? Unanimous, carried forward. PA1, page 254. Councillor Datta, would you like to speak on it?
1 second. 254. Yes, Madam Mayor, I just would like to add a second point to the recommendation that has been put there on E01. The second point being that council takes initiative and work on an active program to plant trees in designated industrial areas. Reading the rationale is reading that report, which is a good report, has a lot of information, but it also shows that there are certain areas where there are very little trees available, and I know that we could not improve that in one overnight, but that's the reason I'm saying that we take an initiative, an active program to plant trees in designated industrial areas where there is not enough canopy in any shape or form. So if you could, I would request you to support for the second point, that we start planting trees as practical in the industrial areas where possible. Thank you.
Sorry, councillors, can I have a mover and seconder?
I'll be moving it.
Councillor Blackmore will be seconding it. Is anybody else would like to add to the motion or speak to the motion? Councillor Blackmore, do you accept the? Yes. Councillors, I now put the motion to vote. Can I have a show of hands for the motion? Unanimous, carried forward. Are there any matters of urgencies? None. There being no further business, I declare the meeting closed at the time being